Apple just quietly brought back a feature it already removed, and it might be one of the most important privacy upgrades your iPhone still doesn't have. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me keep bringing you more tech breakdowns like this one. In the latest beta of iOS 26.5, Apple has reintroduced end-to-end encryption for RCS messaging, the same feature it tested before, then pulled at the last minute. And if that sounds familiar, it's because this is now becoming a pattern. Here's why this matters more than it seems. Right now, if you're texting another iPhone user through iMessage, your messages are fully encrypted. That's been the case since 2011. If you're on Android texting another Android user using RCS, those messages are also encrypted. But the moment you send a message between iPhone and Android using RCS, that protection disappears. That means, in theory, your messages could be intercepted. Not something most people think about, but definitely something Apple has built its reputation on preventing. And that's exactly where this update comes in. With iOS 26.5 Beta 1, Apple has once again added an encryption toggle for RCS messages. You can find it buried in Settings under Messages, and it's turned on by default. When it's active, encrypted chats will show a small lock icon, so you know your conversation is actually secure. On the surface, that sounds like progress, but here's the catch. This isn't the first time we've seen this. Apple already tested this feature in the iOS 26.4 beta cycle earlier this year. First, it worked between iPhones. Then Apple expanded testing to include iPhone to Android conversations. Everything looked like it was ready. And then it disappeared. When iOS 26.4 officially launched to the public, the encryption feature was completely removed. Now it's back again in 26.5. That back and forth raises a bigger question. Why is Apple struggling to ship something that already exists? The technology behind this isn't new. It's based on something called Messaging Layer Security, or MLS, which is part of the GSMA's RCS Universal Profile 3.0, a standard that's already been published and implemented elsewhere. In fact, Google has supported encrypted RCS chats between Android devices for years. So technically, the foundation is already there, which makes Apple's delay harder to explain. Apple first announced encrypted RCS support back in March 2025. Early signs showed up in iOS 26.3 betas. Now we're nearly into April 2026, and it still hasn't made it into a public release. Instead, we're stuck in this loop. Test it, remove it, bring it back, repeat. And it's not just this feature. Even Siri updates that were expected earlier have been delayed across multiple versions. So at this point, it starts to feel less like careful development and more like a lack of urgency. And that's surprising, especially for a company that positions itself as the leader in user privacy. Because here's the reality. Right now, your cross-platform messages are the weak link. If you're texting across iPhone and Android, you're not getting the same level of protection you probably assume you have. And in 2026, that gap shouldn't exist. The green bubble versus blue bubble debate has always been about experience, things like read receipts, typing indicators, and media quality. But this goes deeper than that. This is about security. And until Apple fully rolls out encrypted RCS, that divide isn't just annoying, it's a real privacy limitation. Now, to be fair, the fact that Apple keeps bringing this feature back into beta testing could mean something. It suggests the company is still actively working on it, and maybe, finally, getting closer to a proper release. So there is a chance that iOS 26.5 could be the update where this actually goes live for everyone. But at the same time, we've seen this exact setup before, so it's hard to be fully confident. In the meantime, if secure messaging really matters to you, you still have to rely on third-party apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, or Signal, apps that already offer full end-to-end encryption across platforms. And honestly, that's the strange part, because something as basic as secure texting between two phones, regardless of brand, shouldn't require a separate app in the first place, especially not from Apple. So this update is both encouraging and frustrating at the same time. Encouraging because the feature is clearly getting closer. Frustrating because it's taken this long and still isn't here. Now the real question is, will Apple finally ship it this time, or are we about to see the same cycle all over again? What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.